Hi. As usual, I'm going to try my best to keep the talking to a minimum, and I predict that as usual, I will fail miserably. So if you can't stand my jabbering, I've put timestamps in the description to help you navigate. Right. Synergy modules. From the videos I've seen so far, it seems to me that most of the modules that Synergy make really do hang with the amps they're based off of. Now, I want to find out if the Synergy Diezel Herbert module sounds like a real Herbert. This video is structured as follows. In the first part, both the amp and the module will be using the Herbert's power section, the amp's power section. I'll be playing through both channels with and without mid-cut and with and without front-end boost. After that, I'll be shooting out the amp against the module with the module going through an external power amp for a few selected settings, just so that we can hear how much the power section affects the tone. I'd really love to show it to you in my modified Radial RM100, but sadly, the rumours you may have heard are true.
Chug, chug, nope, 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 nope.
This module does not work in Radial units. So why the Herbert Mark II, you ask? Well, based on its release date, it's safe to assume that the module is most closely based off the Herbert Mark III. I don't have one of those, and I cry about that fact about twice every 5 minutes. However, I do believe that all versions of the Herbert are in the same ballpark tonally. My Mark I and Mark II are really close, and Kyle Bull made a great video comparing his Mark I to a Mark III. Just search for Kyle Bull Diezel Herbert and you'll find it immediately. I'll conclude the video by describing what I felt and heard while playing the units, and I will try to point out the similarities and differences as I perceive them. So let's go. Alright, I'm all set up with the KSR PA 50 power amp, and I'm going to just repeat a few of the riffs from the previous section with this setup so that you can get an idea on how much the power amp affects the tone. And I think you'll find that it's quite significant. Notice that I have the negative feedback knob on the KSR dialed pretty low, and the top knob, which I assume is presence in the traditional sense, dialed up pretty high. I've done this to mimic the high end that the Diezel Herbert amp has, as I find the module falls a little short there. It doesn't really replicate it authentically. I said the bad word. The KSR is loaded with a pair of beautiful JJ KT77 power tubes, same as the Diezel Herbert amp. I cannot quite remember what value I biased them at, but as the fancy LEDs on the front panel of the KSR indicate, they're good. The bias is good. It's good bias. Let's go. There you go. What did I learn making this video? First of all, gimbals are fun.
Whee!
Secondly, power amps matter, at least for this application or this module. The KSR PA 50 is a great power amp. It's very versatile and it sounds great, but it can't quite match the hugeness of the Diezel. However, I have to point out that it's not really a fair fight in that regard. The Diezel has 3 times as many power amp tubes after all. But there's not just a difference in headroom, there's a different tonality to the KSR as well. So the question is, can the Diezel Herbert module capture the magic of the Diezel Herbert amp? And my answer is kinda. The blue channel certainly captures some of the magic. The mid feeling is there, the low end is similar. Where it falls short is the high end. The high end is really unique to the Diezel Herbert amp in my opinion. There's this openness, this airiness to it that the module just can't quite recreate. Now, why is this? What is the difference between the module and the amp in this case? What could have something to do with it, in my opinion, is that in the Synergy Radial Egnator units, the first stage is in the carrier unit, in this case the SYN-2. So to me it's fair to assume that the input stages of these devices is somewhat generic, one size fits all, an approximation that works with most preamp designs. The Diezel however feels extraordinarily responsive and very touch sensitive to me. So my assumption is that the input stage of the Herbert amp is quite specific. Specific to the degree that the generic input of the Synergy unit does not allow for a 100% faithful reproduction of the amp's high-end character. To my ear, the differences become less noticeable the more gimmicks we add. With the mid-cut switch engaged, it's less audible, and with a boost on top of that, it becomes even less audible. So I'd say yes, the blue channel does capture a good bit of the Diezel Herbert magic. It's not a perfect recreation, but it gets pretty close. With the red channel, it's a different story. First of all, it suffers from the same high-end deficiency, if I may call it that, as the blue channel. But there's something else going on with the red channel's low end that is very weird to me. And I've had the module for several months now, and I've been going back and forth between the module and the amp and playing with both. And I still haven't been able to find an adequate analogy for what I'm sensing in the low end of that channel. It's almost like it's running out of headroom for the lower frequencies. It's really weird. It reminds me a little bit of what you might hear when you push the front end of an amp too much. But that's not really it either. For a while I thought my module might be broken and considered buying a new one just to see if that reacted any differently. But before doing that, I decided to listen to some of the other demos of the module out there. And if you listen to Fluff's demo, you can hear that quality in his video as well. Christian Kola also did a great shootout of several Synergy high-gain modules, and you can hear it in that video too. If I remember correctly, he describes the low end of that module as sounding crusty at the end of his video. It's an interesting word to choose, but it's fitting. There's just something not Herbert-like at all about that channel. Because the amp sounds nothing like that. The amp has a very tight, focused, big low end, while the low end of the red channel of the modules kind of squishes out. Listen to the last toggling section of the video, and you can really hear how the low end kind of falls apart on the module compared to the amp. I can't put my finger on it. I'm sorry to say that channel doesn't do it at all for me. However, there's a way to make the red channel sound like the blue one, as I showed in my last video. So I get to have 2 channels that I like that way, which I think is great. Now, does that channel sound 100% like a Diezel Herbert? No, not 100%, but as I said, it gets pretty close, and neither is objectively better or worse than the other. They're just slightly different. Okay, this is the end of the video. It has come to my attention that this is where most video creators tell the audience what to do, so I'm going to give that a try. Eat your vegetables and call your mom. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Bye.